On this episode of The Donut Shop, the 6 rules of VR video filmmaking. VR video, also known as 360 video, is just as similar to shooting 2D video as it is different. And there's a couple of things that you're going to want to keep in mind to help ensure that your content turns out awesome. Rule number 1, think about the camera as a character. One of the greatest things about VR is that you now have the ability to create a sense of presence inside of the viewer. You can make that person feel like they're actually sitting in the room with your characters. And the simplest way to do that is to think of your viewer as a character. If you're going to be sitting in this room or standing in this room with me while we shoot this video blog, where would you want to be standing? Put your camera there. It'll help create that sense of presence and immersion inside your VR video. Rule number 2, mind the stitch. Most 360 video cameras have at least 6 outward-facing lenses. And we have to go in and post and stitch all 6 of those video files together to create one spherical video at the end of the day that we can use in our VR piece. You want to keep most of your action inside of a single lens if possible and minimize the amount of time that people are either crossing stitch lines or having action on the stitch line. Software's gotten a lot better in the last few years and it can do about 90 to 95% of the work for you, but you are going to have to go in and manually fix any of those stitch errors if you have a ton of action happening on that stitch line. Rule number 3, do not forget about sound. Audio is important in any video. I believe it's even more important in VR video. One of the great things about VR, as we mentioned before, is that the user now has the ability to look around anywhere that they want. However, as a director, that can be tricky because if I want to make the user look over there, how do I do that without a big flashing, annoying arrow on the screen? Audio is a great way to do that. In addition, a really rich spatial audio track can just help add layers of immersion to that video, to that sense of presence that you're trying to create with your viewer. Rule number 4, move with caution. One of the biggest complaints you hear about any type of VR is that it makes people nauseous. And VR video is unfortunately notorious for making people feel sick. And the number one reason for that is because of camera movement. If you're going to move your camera, make sure you do it with intention. The second thing is, if you are going to move the camera, make sure you move it at a constant speed and very, very steady. Any acceleration or deceleration or camera shake, simple way to make your audience run for the bathroom. Rule number 5, fill your scene. I see so many VR videos that are so close to being good, but I think that some creators forget that the viewer can look anywhere they want to. They have an amazing story unfolding right here in front of the viewer, but what's happening to the left? What's happening to the right? Right? You want to make sure you take full advantage of that full spherical format and give your user something to engage with and look at no matter where they're looking. And rule number 6, don't be afraid to say no. I know it's hard to say no, and it's really hard to say no if someone's willing to pay you to do something. However, VR video is not a solution for every problem, right? It's a tool in your toolkit as a creator. There's lots of video content that shouldn't be shot in VR video. It will make a much better video shot on a professional 2D camera. But when the time is right, shooting in VR video can be way more powerful than 2D video. But you just need to understand why you're going to be shooting in that VR format. Keep that and the other 5 rules in mind, and this will help ensure that your VR video content is professional and engaging. All right, that's it for me on this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. We'll be sure to get those answered. And as always, stay hungry.